Hoffman Handles just sent me a box full of axe handles. In this video, we're going to take a close look. All right, well, I was not expecting that at all. Packing peanuts and each handle wrapped in paper. So this is the 12-inch hatchet handle. And here we have the, I believe, 14-inch Carver's handle. And this is the 24-inch, basically a Boise axe handle. That's beautiful. And this is one that I've really been looking forward to. It's Octagonal, 26-inch Octagonal. And then this is the second one that I'm very interested in. It's a 32-inch double bit. Look at that palm swell. It's fat. All right. All right, now first up, we have the 12-inch handle. So I'm thinking that'd make a sweet little hatchet. These old carpenter axes have a nice small eye on them. So one thing that we notice on these are all covered in linseed oil. When we're talking about the tongue dimensions here, something to keep into consideration is, you know, this is still, I don't know, maybe 1.5 pound hatchet head, but it's got a slightly bigger eye. This handle will not fit on the medium to larger hatchet eyes. But this, I don't know, 1.25 pound, 1.5 pound, 4-ridge wood slasher, this handle will still fit on this wood slasher. So something I want to note is that all these handles come with a black walnut wedge. All right, moving on, this is what I'm really excited about. This is the 13.5-inch Carver's handle. Now on these smaller handles, under 24 inches, I don't believe you get the option to choose A grade or B grade, but I definitely consider this closer to an A grade. So I don't know, maybe that's a B plus. Now this is definitely labeled as a Carver's hatchet, and we can see that it has that neck forward design to get that grip to balance that carving head. There's nothing that says you couldn't hang a regular hatchet head on this. Now again, the tongue dimensions match what it says on the website, because it's actually quite thick here at the grip where you'd hold it as a carving handle. And we're a full inch, and that's nice. And that maintains down, we got 1 inch all the way to the lower grip. We're just under 9/10. So, and you want a thicker handle on a carving axe. I prefer a thicker handle on that. Now again, the palm swell, 1.5 inches. From what I've looked at, the only other Carver handle that you can get is the Gransfors Brooks. So this is a really sweet option to be able to have out there. I buy these little Prandy 600 gram Rhineland patterns. These make great throwing axe heads, and they make good little carver heads. So I was hoping that this would work, but there's just not enough wood and it wouldn't seal up on the bottom. So I think I'm gonna get a hold of a German Rhineland pattern, an old vintage one that doesn't have the D-shaped eye, and make, you know, a vintage styled budget carver. So I'm stoked on that. That's a nice piece. I really like that. All right, so we're actually seeing, what is that, 5 different colors on the cone end of these axe handles. Now, I'm pretty sure that Hoffman Handles is not painting the end of these axe handles. And this is actually the first time I've ever seen an axe handle with paint on the end. Now, we've obviously seen painted handles up on the grip, but this is different. This paint is left over from the unit of lumber that they made these axe handles out of. Axe handles traditionally never came from the factory with a cone end on them. They're leaving this cone end on, or creating a cone end and putting more wood on than was traditionally there, so that we have something to hammer onto. And it's not just this sharp angle of a fawn's foot that you either have to cut to get a little bit of realty to hammer on. So I don't see an issue with the paint. Most of these should be ground to a scroll end or a fawn's foot or whatever you want to do with it. And if you don't like the paint and you want to leave the cone in, sand it off. All right, next up, the 24-inch handle. Now this is labeled simply as the 24-inch handle. This is basically a boy's axe handle. It's got some nice curve to it. That is a sexy handle right there. Now, we do see, I wouldn't call them defects, but definitely we've got some streaks running through. Overall, there's a little bit of grain run out, but the grain orientation is damn near perfect. Now, I don't know if you can get the 24-inch in A grade. One of the things that they do is, I believe the B grade is 1.5 inch palm swell. And we're sitting just a little under 1.5 inches there. And the thickness, it's thin down here at the grip. We're sitting at 21 millimeters, 8/10. It starts thickening up a little bit. 22 millimeters, just over 8/10. And then up here at the shoulder, it's fat. Yeah, that's 1 1/10. So that's nice and thick up here. There's plenty of room on this tongue. And the actual length on this thing, again, it's to the front of the fawn's foot. It's 24 inches, almost exactly to the top of the tongue. Now, I said boy's axe, and you got your 2.5 pound, Dayton pattern 6 ridge. Now that's a prime candidate, but also with a little work, you'd have to take off a little more material, but your Hudson Bay will fit on perfectly also. Now, Hoffman Handles gave me these handles to make some content out of, and he sent me 2 of these 24 inchers. So we're gonna do a giveaway. I'm gonna build a pack axe with this 6 ridge wood slasher, this 24-inch handle, and I'm gonna top it off with the OD Green Kydex sheath. Now, one of you lucky guys is gonna win this axe here. And all you have to do is put the words "I'm in the comment section on this video. We'll do the giveaway live on YouTube in 1 month from the date that this video was posted. Now, next up, this is the one that I am most excited on. And we can see here, see that line? That's an octagon handle. Octagonal, however you want to pronounce it. It's got really thick grain. Look how thick. Those are almost like a 1/4 inch annual growth rings right there. Now this guy is labeled as the 26-inch straight octagonal. And this is one of the newest, I believe the newest release that he has put out. So it's got a nice fat palm swell. This is A grade. Inch and 3/4. Now, on the thickness, right here where the grip stops its taper, we're just under 21 millimeters, 8/10, and it gradually tapers all the way up. Let's see. No, we're still sitting right there at 21, 8/10. And then again, it gets nice and thick right up here. We're sitting at 1 inch right here. Now, the thing that I notice about these is this is the full-size eye, and it gets a little narrow right here. That's one of the things I'd like to see is just a little bit more wood in this section right here. Now, this is definitely A grade. We can see we have some run out here, but with how thick those grains are, that shouldn't be an issue at all. Now, in my mind, this is going to make the perfect camp axe. Now, if I build this to keep and not to sell, this is what's going on it. So 26 inches, a little short. I like to use a little bit more of a worn out axe. So this thing definitely has some steel to remove to get it reprofiled, but that's what we're looking at. Yeah, that'll be a nice piece. That'll be a nice piece. Now, with this A grade, something, if I can get it to show up, we can see some little lines right here. So I've noticed that on a couple handles, and I believe that those lines are just leftover marks from the turning process that didn't get sanded down all the way. I don't have an issue with it. And you know, something else to note is these handles, I think they're sanded to, I don't know, 120? Might be higher than that, but they're not that super silky smooth handle. Me personally, I like to be around 120. That's what I finish my handles at. Over time, they'll smooth out with use. If you're the type of person that wants it that 220 silky smooth, little sandpaper, smooth it right out. Now, none of these handles have a kerf cut in them. Now, this is not normal. I've got a few handles that came from the factory without a kerf cut. A lot of people are gonna say, oh, well, I want my kerf cut for me. Now, here's what you gotta think about. If you have a misaligned eye and you have to actually turn that axe head on that eye, what's gonna happen is if your kerf's cut, think about it. Your kerf is going to be at an angle in that eye. So, me personally, I don't mind not having a kerf cut. It is an option. You can ask them to cut a kerf. Now, next up, we have another A grade. Nice thick palm swell. This is the 28-inch straight handle. That's what it's labeled as. Now, some of you guys will say, well, it's not a traditional straight handle, and it's definitely not. But this is a lot straighter than its sister, which is the 28-inch curvy handle. To me, I think this will make a great little truck axe. So what I'll do on that is these narrow Michigans, these are a dime a dozen. These things came out of the 70s. Nobody really likes them much. They just don't have much style, but they've got a fat pole. Look how thick that pole is. And it's got a nice thick cheeks. Now they're flat cheeks, but they're thick. So these are actually great little axes. And as far as a truck axe goes, in my opinion, a truck axe you should be able to beat on it. You should be able to pound on it. You should be able to use it as a hammer, a splitter, a chopper, all around. If something happens to it, someone steals it out of the back of your truck or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So to me, that's really the ultimate truck axe head. And I think that 28-inch is about perfect. You can still chop, you can split if you had to. It's not too long. I think that'll make a great little truck axe. Hey guys, if you're liking this content and you want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, hit the like button. That helps out the channel a whole bunch, and it also lets YouTube know that you want to see more videos like this. All right, last but not least is the 32-inch double bit handle. Now, this is another new release, relatively new release. I think they let these go, I don't know, a couple months ago, sometime this winter. Look at the palm swell on that. So you're not going to find that type of flare on a double bit handle. That's wild. At first, I didn't care for this. I didn't like the looks of it. But now that I got it in my hand, obviously I haven't used it yet, it actually feels really good, and it feels like you can get a little bit more of a relaxed grip, especially when you're really extending out. You know, when you hit a point to where you overextend right here in your wrist, and then you can kind of still let it go a bit more. And I think that it's going to work really well for that. Let's see, I believe that is the thick. Okay, so yeah, we're sitting right around 1 3/4 inches. The grain orientation is phenomenal. It's got a little bit of run out. But we do have, for an A grade handle, we do have a couple little streaks of some color through here, but it's down here at the grip. I don't see any issue with that. Let's look at the dimensions of this. So you see how thin that is? So normally when people are thinking of how thick an axe handle is, we're thinking this direction, right? And that's definitely one of them. And we're sitting at the end of the taper right around 21 millimeters, 8/10. It gradually goes up about midway here. We're sitting 22 millimeters. And again, it gets nice and fat up here at just over an inch. When I say nice and fat, I like it nice and thick up here. Same as the tongue. I like a thick tongue. I like more wood from here to here than I need, because that gives me the ability to fit the eye just how I want it if I got a twisted tongue or a twisted eye, like I was saying. But in this section here, you know, that's thicker than a double bit. Okay, that's thicker than a double bit. So that will stick out. If you were chopping wood, wouldn't be as big of an issue, but if you were splitting wood with a double bit, some people might do that. That's going to stick out, and when it goes into the log, you're going to start getting tore up on these sides. So you might thin that down a little bit. So the other thing that I'm noticing, you know, we measure this way, but it's thin this way, really thin this way. So we're sitting 32 millimeters. Okay, that's almost an inch and a quarter. And then it just tapers up. It just keeps tapering. Pretty straight line here. Okay, so halfway through, we're sitting at about 35, which that's about the regular thickness that I see, is about 35, 36. You know, and getting up, obviously, they're going to keep tapering. Again, we got the blue paint on the bottom. All around, I didn't think I was going to like it because of that grip, but this thing has really grown on me. The other thing, it's hard to... I've got a couple big double bits that have close to a 3-inch bottom eye on them. And there's two things that I really like about this. One is right here at the shoulder, just a little bit above the shoulder, we're 3 2/10. That's huge. That's super wide. A lot of the double bit handles that I've seen, that I've gotten, are really just pushing it to be thick enough to fit some of these bigger double bits that I have. But two is, if you like that more pronounced shoulder where it pops out, you can leave these and carve that in and get that nice pronounced shoulder, which would probably match up really well with down here. And I'm assuming that that's what they had in mind when they were designing that handle. Now, like I said, this sucker right here will go well with everything from your regular 3.5 pound, what is this, a ProCraft. That'll fit well with that. And it'll also fit all the way up to this 6 pound. Believe it or not, that is a 6, I believe it's 6.25 pound. It'll fit that eye all the way up to that. So that's phenomenal. All right, so my overall opinion and review on these axe handles from Hoffman Handles is that I like them. I like them a lot. I think they're doing a great job. So something that I do want to point out that I'm seeing on these handles that I'm not seeing on other of the nice axe handle manufacturers is that these handles are much more symmetric from side to side than a lot of other handles. There's the lines on the shoulder, the lines here are lines here on the palm swell. There's not little divots, there's not little sanding marks where you can tell that they had sanded away the blemishes from the turning process. These handles are incredibly well shaped, very well shaped. So we're seeing a lot of things on these handles that we don't see on other handle manufacturers. And none of these things that we're seeing are a no-go to me. I have my personal opinion. I'd like to see the option to get them with no oil on them, right? The paint, I don't care about. I think the only real gripe that I would have on them is on their full-size eye. I would like to see more wood in that section right there. We can always take it away. You can't put it back. So something to consider with this, with Hoffman Handles here, is there's two things. Number one He has years, probably over a decade of experience in making handles. And I believe that this is just the beginning, what we're seeing right now. Hoffman Handles, the actual company, is only a year or 2 years old. So I got a feeling that there is a lot more additions coming, a lot more handles coming, and that is awesome. Whiskey River's great. They've got a phenomenal selection, but it's really good to see competition for two reasons for us as consumers. Is one, we get more options, right? You're coming out with new stuff, and that's great. But two, if you have competition, it keeps the prices pretty fair. If there's only one guy out there, you know, they could charge whatever they want. So I'm really enjoying seeing that we got another big axe handle maker for the axe community out here. So something to think of on that note, these handles are designed and manufactured in-house. So when it comes to expanding their catalog, there's not a bunch of back and forth of going from the designer, sending it out to the manufacturer and tweaking on everything, getting it dialed in perfect. And don't forget, if you guys want, where is it at? If you guys want this axe when it gets put together, which I'm going to start working on that as soon as I'm done filming this. If you want that, drop the comment. I'm in the comment section on this video. Give the video a thumbs up if you're digging this content. And I think that's a wrap, guys. I think that's it. If you want to check out Hoffman Handles, it's hoffmanhandles.com. Pretty simple. Go check them out.